Between the main three Pokemon mechanics that I talk about on this channel, moves, items, and abilities, moves have got to be the most interesting. Pokemon can learn multiple moves at a time, while they cannot hold multiple items or have multiple abilities at a time. Moves also have properties like being a certain type, having a base power, having accuracy, and having a secondary effect, while items and abilities don't. Having access to certain moves can significantly improve a Pokemon's competitive viability, so much so that some Pokemon are completely carried by a certain move. By carried, I mean that if a Pokemon lost access to the move, they would become significantly less viable. Chances are, if you're using this Pokemon, you're using it because it gets a specific move, or because that specific move is especially good on that one Pokemon due to its typing, base stats, or ability. I've decided to only focus on status moves since my fellow Pokemon content creator MattBud already covered a similar concept but on attacking moves, which I recommend you check out. I'll be considering both singles and doubles oriented entries, and some of these are definitely more carried than others, so I'll roughly be going in order from most carried to least carried. First, we have Ribombee and Sticky Web. Sticky Web is a bug-type status move that causes an entry hazard that lowers speed upon entry. In singles formats, Sticky Web is good, but there aren't that many good users. Araquanid is probably the best user of Sticky Web, being the only Sticky Web user in Gen 9 OU at the time of making this video, but Araquanid also has a really good ability that lets it function offensively even if it doesn't get Sticky Web. Water Bubble doubles the power of its water moves, so it could at least be used offensively in that regard. For Ribombee though, its main niche is actually in the Uber tier, a format where strong legendaries like Koraidon and Zacian are legal. Ribombee is the premier Sticky Web setter in this format due to its high speed and fairy typing, which walls a lot of Ubers since a lot of them are dragon type like Koraidon, Tornadus, and Giratina. There are also very few Uber tier Pokemon with access to any kind of hazard removal, and with the high speed of many Ubers, having a hazard that lowers speed is very valuable. While Ribombee does have options that complement Sticky Web well, like Moonblast, Stun Spore, Tailwind, and Trick, if you take this one move away from Ribombee, you take away the main thing making it useful. Yeah, it has Quiver Dance and good stab moves, but if you're using a Quiver Dancing bug in Ubers, you'd use Volcarona before ever using Ribombee. Next, we have Orthworm and Shedtail. Shedtail is a really cool move, since it's kinda like Belly Drum, Substitute, and Baton Pass all in one move. It causes the user to lose half of its HP, creates a substitute, then switches out the user, passing that substitute to an ally. Now this is a little bit of a weird entry to include, since Shedtail is banned in most Smogon formats, and Orthworm kinda sucks in most doubles formats where Shedtail is allowed. However, there was a limited time towards the beginning of Gen 9 where Shedtail was allowed in regular singles play, and let me tell you that this move single-handedly carried Orthworm's viability. Shedtail was allowed in singles OU up until April of 2023, and Pokemon Showdown tracks all of these usage stats, so let's look at Orthworm's OU usage from a month before and a month after the banning of Shedtail to see the impact that this move had on Orthworm's usage. I decided a month was enough time for the meta to adjust, which was March of 2023 compared to May. Looking at these usage stats, you'll see that Orthworm went from the 28th most used Pokemon at 7.3% to the 99th most used at 0.94%, all because of losing one move. The most recent usage stats that Showdown has at the time of making this video is March of 2025, where Orthworm is ranked even lower at 237th most used with 0.2% usage, now ranking in the ZU tier. Orthworm does still have a really good ability, but with its stats being really mid and its main move taken away, it doesn't really have much to offer. It can still be used in Ubers, but with the power level being so high, Orthworm can't really keep up. You could probably say the same about Cyclizar, but since Cyclizar has high speed, Regenerator, and moves like Rapid Spin, U-Turn, and Knockoff, it still has a pretty good niche without Shedtail, while the same cannot really be said about Orthworm. Next, we have Tornadus and Tailwind in doubles. Tailwind doubles the speed of the user side of the field for 4 turns, and Tornadus gets the ability Prankster, which grants +1 priority to status moves. Starting in Gen 8, the game checks the speed of each Pokemon between moves used, so using Prankster Tailwind in doubles means that your ally has doubled speed immediately, which is really the only way to guarantee that you can take advantage of the full 4 turns. Take this one move away from Tornadus and its main role on a team is gone. It is still the best manual weather setter since it gets all weather setting moves, but if you're using Tornadus on a doubles team, you're using it because of Prankster Tailwind. The same could probably be said for Whimsicott, but Whimsicott still has quite a few options that can make it useful, even speed control options. It gets Cotton Spore, a 100% accurate move that harshly lowers the speed of both opponents, while Tornadus just gets Scary Face, which only targets one opponent. Whimsicott also gets Fake Tears, Charm, Encore, and Light Screen, all moves that Tornadus does not get. It would still lose its main role on a team though, but I feel that Tornadus would be harmed slightly more from losing Tailwind, making it, in my opinion, more carried. Next, we have Magmar and Follow Me in doubles. Follow Me is a doubles exclusive priority move that redirects all attacks towards the user. This is one of the best supporting moves in VGC, and really any Pokemon with decent stats can make use of Follow Me. This is a case similar to Orthworm, where we can literally see the impact that one move makes on a Pokemon's competitive viability. Magmar was given access to Follow Me in Scarlet and Violet, so let's compare its usage from 2 similar VGC formats, one in Sword and Shield before it got Follow Me, and one in Scarlet and Violet after getting Follow Me. I'm aware that technically Magmar was able to learn this move before Gen 9, but only when transferred as a purified Shadow Pokemon from Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Since a lot of formats have a requirement that the Pokemon must be obtained in the current game, Follow Me Magmar wasn't allowed in most formats. Anyway, Magmar was actually only made available after the second DLC for both Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet, so let's compare the usage stats 2 months after each of those to again give some time for the meta to adjust. I also feel that these formats are similar enough to compare since they allowed legendary Pokemon but not restricted legendary Pokemon yet, and included all DLC Pokemon. For the Sword and Shield format, which was from December of 2020, Magmar was 370th in usage at 0.026%, and in the Scarlet and Violet format, which was February of 2024, Magmar was 94th in usage at 0.99%. Yes, this is a very rough comparison, but a 38 times usage increase, jumping up 276 spots, is undeniable evidence to show that Follow Me significantly improves Magmar's competitive viability. Without it, it's just a mildly bulky fire type since it can use the Eviolite. It definitely has things to complement Follow Me, like Will-O-Wisp, Taunt, Flame Body, and Vital Spirit, but without it, it pretty much has nothing. The exact same things could be said about Electabuzz, but I just felt that Magmar was slightly better between the two, although they are both very similar in what roles they fill on a team. Next, we have Xerneas and Geomancy. Geomancy is the signature move of Xerneas, the only signature move on this list, and it raises special attack, special defense, and speed by 2 stages at the cost of being a 2-turn charge move. The thing is, there's this funny held item called the Power Herb that turns those 2 turns into 1 turn, which effectively means that Xerneas can double its special attack, special defense, and speed in 1 turn. Combined with its high 131 special attack, 99 speed, and its ability that boosts its already stab fairy moves even more, a Xerneas after using Geomancy is one of the scariest things you can go up against. Without the combo of Power Herb Geomancy, Xerneas pretty much just has Calm Mind for setting up, which pales in comparison to Geomancy, since it doesn't raise speed and only raises special attack and special defense by 1 stage, not 2. Yeah, you have to give up your item slot for Geomancy to fire off immediately, but this is pretty much always worth it with the amount of payoff you're getting from those boosts. Next, we have Cloyster and Shell Smash. Shell Smash lowers the user's defense and special defense by 1 stage, and then raises its attack, special attack, and speed by 2 stages. This is one of the best all-out offense setup moves, since you're sacrificing your survivability with those defensive drops to increase your offense with those speed and attacking boosts. As a physical attacking ice type, Cloyster has the choice between Icicle Crash, Avalanche, Ice Spinner, and Icicle Spear, but due to it getting the ability Skill Link, Icicle Spear is usually preferred. If going this route, Rock Blast is also an option, as well as coverage moves like Drill Run and Poison Jab. Without Shell Smash though, Cloyster doesn't really have any way of setting up its offense. It doesn't learn Bulk Up, Swords Dance, Dragon Dance, Tidy Up, Coil, Belly Drum, or any of those consistent setup moves. It used to get Rapid Spin, an attacking move that raises speed and clears hazards, but it lost access to this move in Scarlet and Violet. So without Shell Smash, Cloyster pretty much has nothing. It's a shame that it had Rapid Spin taken away, since that at least diversified its options a bit, but let's be glad that Cloyster has something with Shell Smash. Next, we have Volcarona and Quiver Dance in singles. We're starting to get into territory of Pokemon not necessarily being carried by a move, but the move still significantly improves their viability and use cases. Quiver Dance raises the user's special attack, special defense, and speed by one stage, making it one of the best setup moves in the game. This, combined with heavy duty boots and Orthera, is what made Volcarona too much for Gen 9 singles, resulting in it getting banned. Take this one move away from it though, and you're taking away the main thing making it a threat. Outside of Quiver Dance, Volcarona's setup options are much less consistent. It has Fiery Dance, which has a 50% chance of raising special attack, not a guaranteed chance. It has Calm Mind, which is just a worse version of Quiver Dance since it doesn't raise speed. To raise its speed, it would have to use either Trailblaze or Flame Charge, both weak physical attacking moves. So it would still have options, but I think you get the idea. Quiver Dance raising 3 stats all in one move is just so efficient. It needs the speed boost since 100 speed isn't all that fast anymore. It needs the special attack boost since it can't really sweep otherwise. It doesn't really need the special defense boost, but it's a nice bonus to have anyway. I specified singles because Volcarona has a great use in doubles as a support mon, since it gets Rage Powder, Tailwind, Will-O-Wisp, Struggle Bug, Morning Sun, and things like that, which could still give it a more defensive use if it didn't have Quiver Dance. Next, we have Alolan-Ninetales and Aurora Veil. Aurora Veil is basically Light Screen and Reflect in one move, with the requirement that it has to be snowing in order for it to be used successfully. Because of this, it's only consistent if you have a way of setting snow, and Alolan-Ninetales has that with its ability Snow Warning. While all 4 snow setters can learn Aurora Veil, Ninetales is definitely the best out of the 4 since it has the highest speed and the fairy typing. Without Aurora Veil, Ninetales loses its main defensive tool that not only helps itself, but also its entire team. Without it, Snow becomes significantly less useful, but it does still have some decent effects. All ice types will have a physical defense boost. Ninetales and allies can fire off perfect accuracy blizzards, which is a spread move in doubles. Slush Rush users can have their speed doubled, and Snow Cloak users can have their evasion increased, which is limited to VGC since singles bans evasion mechanics. With Ninetales still having a good 109 speed and great stab options, I think it would still be decent, but Aurora Veil is definitely the main reason that most players use Alolan-Ninetales at all. Next, we have Amoonguss and Spore in doubles. Spore puts the opponent to sleep, and since sleep moves are banned in most singles formats, and Amoonguss is more of a doubles Pokemon anyway, this entry will be completely doubles focused. If you're using Amoonguss in doubles, you're mostly using it for 2 things, putting opponents to sleep with Spore and redirecting with Rage Powder. Take away either of these things and it loses significant viability. I think Spore is probably the more impactful one between the 2 though, mainly because of the fact that players will use the Safety Goggles item for the sole purpose of not getting put to sleep by Amoonguss's Spore specifically. Yes, it does also make you unaffected by the redirection of Rage Powder, but not getting put to sleep is generally more valuable than not getting your move redirected. Without Spore, Amoonguss is definitely still good, but not nearly as deadly as it is with Spore. Rage Powder, Pollen Puff, and Regenerator are still very good uses though, but losing the potential of putting opponents to sleep with 100% accuracy is a huge hit on Amoonguss. Lastly, I'm going to be doing a bonus round of Pokemon that commonly use a universal status move, which as of Gen 9 are Protect, Endure, Sleep Talk, Substitute, and Rest. Universal moves are made teachable to every Pokemon in the game, with some exceptions like baby Pokemon. I was debating if I should even include these at all, since Pokemon will pretty much always have access to these moves, unlike other moves that could realistically be removed or taken away from their moveset. However, there have been cases where a universal status move was made to no longer be universal, like Toxic and Double Team, so I felt that this is still a possibility that should be considered. First is Dondozo and Rest in singles. Rest puts the user to sleep and heals its HP all the way back to full. If the user had a different status condition before using Rest, Rest will change that status condition to sleep. Dondozo is primarily used as a defensive wall in singles that shuts down setup heavy strategies with its ability Unaware. As a defensive wall, it's going to want some sort of recovery, and Rest is its only recovery option since it doesn't get Slack Off or any other healing moves. Without Rest, Dondozo's defensive walling capabilities are significantly stunted. Same could probably be said about Sleep Talk since they are typically used together, but you generally see more Rest sets without Sleep Talk than Sleep Talk sets without Rest. Next is 90% of Pokemon in VGC and Protect. Protect protects you from attacking and status moves for the turn, which is often used to stall for the effects of field conditions, move or item effects, or scout what your opponent plans on doing. If I had to pick one Pokemon though, I'd probably say Chien-Pao. Chien-Pao really needs Protect to keep itself alive long enough for its Sword of Ruin ability to boost its physical attacking allies' offense. It almost always holds a Focus Sash because of its below average bulk and 6 weaknesses including a 4 times weakness to fighting, so not having Protect would make it so that it can only boost its allies' offense for around 2 turns. This also makes it more susceptible to Fake Out, which breaks its Focus Sash. And last we have Armarouge and Endure in singles. Endure is a priority move that makes the user survive the next hit it takes with at least 1 HP. One of Armarouge's main gimmicks in singles is the combination of Endure, Weakness Policy, and Weak Armor to tank a super effective hit from Endure, get an attack and special attack boost from Weakness Policy, and get a speed boost from Weak Armor. Without Endure, Armarouge is a lot less consistent in its potential to set up with its below average speed and lack of status moves that can raise speed. And those are Pokemon that are carried by a status move. Let me know if you disagree with any of my reasonings or feel that I missed any, and no, I'm not counting Smeargle with Sketch. Anyway, if you want to support me and my channel, just leave a nice comment since I do read all comments. You can also become a member for 99 cents USD to get a badge next to your name and early video access like all of these lovely people. Likes are also one of the ways that YouTube determines if a video should be passed around to more people, so if you feel that this video deserves to be, I would appreciate it. Thanks for watching.